Hello listeners, welcome back to your favorite Chika Tambayan on YouTube, where we talk about meaningful nothings and diving headfirst to the inner worlds of the poor souls who are guesting here today.
We can talk about life, love, society, or the constant feeling of dread about having to fulfill society's expectations of you so you're not deemed as worthless.
I am Ralph Vincent Amaraon, your host.
I am Lexa Ranyas, your other host. Remember, this is your safe space.
Tell us your musings, dear listeners. Welcome to Words and Worlds.
Ta-da-dang, ta-da-dang, ta-da-dang.
Another fine day in the very init Maasin City.
Slaying in the 45-degree weather, a normal day for Filipinos, I know.
A great day for a cup of coffee.
Jokes aside, we're quite crowded in here in the Machine Cafe and Resto. So, today in our podcast, we're quite crowded. So, how about we give our guests some recognition, Ralph?
Yes, cue the introduction. I'm gonna have to ask everyone to give a brief introduction of themselves just for the crowd.
Then, to spice things up, tell us your first, or your full names rather,
Yes.
followed by your nickname, and give us one truth and one lie about yourself. And everyone else will have to guess which is which. Kind of confusing? No worries, Ralph will have to have a sample.
Yes, I have prepared a sample so that you can have a guide. Sorry, it is okay. It should go like this. Hi, my name is Ralph Vincent Amaraon, but you can call me Ralph. I am 18 years old and I am a fan of Twice. Can you guess which one is the fact or the lie?
Okay. Then anyone can have a guess with which one is the lie. So for Ralph, it's quite obvious that he's not 18. Sorry. Then, but
More importantly, are the instructions clear, everyone? Are the instructions clear? Carrie?
clap, clap, clap.
Clap, clap. Okay.
Okay. So, let's start
with Ate.
Ate Dessa.
I'm Dessa J. Gaviola. You can call me Dessa. I love coffee and I'm straight.
Anyway,
Which is the lie?
which is the lie?
Everyone else.
Everyone else?
I think
Okay.
Okay, who?
Laika wants to answer the question.
I think,
The lie.
The lie is that. How can you say so? Hello. You love coffee, but
You're not.
you're not straight.
Same.
Same.
Anyway, let's proceed to Miss Joanne, so that it can be a full
Fair,
circle.
yeah.
Name. And one fact.
Nickname.
And then one lie.
Okay. My name is Jana Ventosa and you can call me Joanne.
Continue.
My
Fun fact.
fun fact about life is something about truth.
We have to guess if it's a truth or a lie. You have to give two statements.
I love reading books and also I'm a singer.
Can you guess? Does anyone want to guess?
I guess the
Chomar.
answer is Chomar guess.
Oh, this is good.
Wow. Okay, continue. Chomar guess.
Okay, cut.
I guess that the
Lie.
is she's single.
Is it true?
Is it true?
Is it true that you're not single?
You're single.
You're single right now.
Oh my god!
Revelation.
Okay, so the lie is that you love reading books.
She doesn't actually love reading books. Yeah.
Okay.
Precisely.
Precisely. Anyway,
Next
how
is
about
the one in the shades. The one who sponsored everything.
yes, our mayor?
Hello everyone. I am Jomar Minasa. I'm 18 years of age.
Sorry. And I no longer love my ex-crush.
Oh. Then.
That's all.
I think the answer is very much obvious. I think the lie is very much obvious.
Yes.
Shall we disclose who your ex-crush is? Or no?
Keep it private.
Confidential.
Confidential. Okay, so let's proceed to the one in pink. The only one in pink.
I'm Laika Sibrangel. You can call me Like or just Laika. And I am 19 years old and I'm fond of writing poems and reading books. Medyo challenging.
Challenging gamay.
Challenging. I don't know her
slide.
age. Despite us being friends, I don't know her age.
Friends really, and
What's the lie?
what's the line? Oh, what's the line?
Writing poem ba to?
Poems. Ah, you don't like
You don't like writing poems?
writing poems of reading books.
Reading books.
Ah,
But you were borrowing my book last
di siya fun. She likes
Stop.
Stop the car. Anyway.
Stop the car.
And lastly, let's proceed to our the only one in our the only one wearing our city departmental shirt.
I don't know, here or
Here.
you may hear.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Sandal. You can call me Love. I'm 13 years old and I'm single.
13?
Yeah, 13.
I know, of course.
Of course.
13 is the line.
So you're single.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought guys, she's single.
Very much ready to mingle.
now that we're well acquainted with everyone, what are we going to talk about today? Like,
So, in today's episode, we're gonna talk about our personal versus our societal applications. Or in more technical terms, the concept of particularism and versus universalism.
anyone who has heard of this concept, clap your hands. Are you
Once.
familiar with particularism and universalism? Clap your hands.
Once.
Clap it once. Okay.
Only Jomar?
I guess only Mr. Honasa is familiar with the topic.
So,
As we should.
as we should. But I'm sure everyone has their own perspective later once we've tackled it properly and we've discussed what exactly it is. So, in our Words and Worlds podcast, our goal won't be fulfilled unless we see your inner workings or your inner worlds or how your minds work.
And for that, for all of you, we prepared this little container, or I guess
In the palm of our
in the
hands,
palm of our hands. We prepared a set of statements that would question whether or
Situations.
that would reveal whether you yourself identify as someone who is a particularist or a universalist. These statements were
they
pulled out of our imaginative minds with the help of
ChatGPT. ChatGPT.
just to be transparent. But anyway, you have to one of you has to pick a statement, and if any of you has an insight, you can give your
Anyone can give their insight.
information about
So who will our sponsor? Our sponsor.
our sponsor.
That's and the situation is what?
Should I read the
Yes,
the
yes.
ethical debate?
And then after you read it, give it to me so that I can read the statement.
Excuse the vehicles.
Excuse me.
Ambience.
Okay, ambience.
This universe.
This universe.
Okay, should I start?
Yes,
You should.
A doctor faces a difficult decision when a patient arrives at the hospital in critical condition. The patient requires a rare blood transfusion, and the only compatible donor available is the doctor's own child.
So in this situation, what are you going to do if you are the doctor?
If you were the
If
doctor,
you were the doctor.
would you prioritize your patient or would you secure the safety of your child?
Yes.
Mr. Hanasa.
Or anyone.
Or anyone in the group.
What do you think are you going to do?
If you were put in that position.
Yes.
Because-
As the patient.
Because like life is about perspective and we want to know your insights to get to know you.
Okay, so I believe we have different decisions in life,
Yes.
but we should be consider about what our position in that situation. So, in this scenario, a doctor and the patient requires a rare blood transfusion. I do believe that taking risks sometimes will be worthwhile, and because if our put in a situation, the professional doctor, we have before we commit, before we have on that position, we promise ourselves to do our responsibility as doctor.
Sir.
And so, in a nutshell, I will take risks so that on my position, I don't have any regrets or doubts because at the end of the day, I am definitely a doctor. So that's
Wow. That's a very detailed.
It's a very detailed response. But
So
as
you choose
you choose to be,
do your duty as a doctor.
but it does not state here that your own child's life is
In danger.
in danger.
Yeah,
But
blood.
if we were to add another dilemma, because it is a rare blood transfusion, and tendency is that it might risk
The
the life of your own child. Are you still willing to take the risk to answer your duty? Because being a doctor is a very noble job and it is a calling, not a mission. You have to answer the call because it is your own duty that you yourself committed, that you answered yourself. So are you willing again to take the risk?
in that situation, maybe I should think more, or maybe because it is not only about my profession, and it talks about my child also, and so there is collaboration between being a doctor and most especially being a father.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't know what should I do on that one, but maybe giving me more time, then I could answer that one.
Wait.
What's the others?
Oh.
Or like state perspective as a parent and as a professional degree holder or a profession, syempre, you have to decide wisely if what choices would you pick.
So you're choosing in the end your job or saving the patient.
First, to answer
How about the others?
it concisely.
Are you sharing the same
Are you sharing the same
perspective?
Yes.
So
So,
that means you are in the Universalism perspective. That's interesting because in a universalist perspective, it means that no matter the laws are above everything. So justice is blind, and therefore, if you are a doctor, you will fulfill your duty regardless of personal affairs. So I think that is also a very noble decision,
yeah.
but also a very difficult one.
It is a big risk to take considering that you are making two different decisions that would drastically change
The lives of
your life personally and the life of others. considering that it requires the help of another human in order to aid another human to continue.
Yes.
So I guess it is in a sense affordable to act to your duty than to secure your own family.
So that really shows us that you're in the Universalism. Most or for now,
Now,
perhaps.
because we still have two statements to assess whether or not you really are universalist or you vary from situation to situation.
Or particularist. So how about second puni?
Ipo, salamat.
Taking a break.
Okay, and we're back. We have returned after our short snack break. I think everyone is refreshed for another conversation, another set of dilemma. So this time, I think our dean, our dean at the moment,
Yes. Have the honors of
okay, please read the
for
dilemma.
everyone.
Resource allocation. In a community hit by a natural disaster, there is a limited access to food and supplies.
So in this
Situation.
yes, in this situation, would you choose being a equality kind of person wherein you have to allocate the resources to everyone, dapat doon, equally, or would you choose equity in which you would prioritize your family, your friends, or your relatives, or those who are dear to you, those who are close to you, and the rest would be given to the members of the community? What would it be?
I would choose equality because in those trying times, just like the Odette, rich or poor is affected and all the natural resources, whatever, is very limited.
Yeah.
So, in those times, marag di jud applicable kung mag-selfish bitaw ta. Kay, syempre, kita tanan na affected pod.
Kung sa inahanap ko,
Oh,
i-share.
dapat i-share po na to. Bahalag, limited, at least murag bag, ganang gaan sa feeling.
Okay, you're guilt-free.
Oo, inga na bitaw.
Conscience. Clean conscience.
Yeah, you don't have a happy heart. Seeing your neighbors suffering from the afflictions of the Odette.
That, especially from the Odette,
I think Sir Jomar has an input,
has something to say
something to say.
based on his reaction.
Okay, so I respect the opinion of Jean, but I stand fair in equity. If you will say equity, choosing ourselves than the others, no? Sharing our resource in this situation, sharing our resources to others equal. However, in equity, you have to prioritize yourself or your family. In equity, choosing that one, it is not necessarily mean that it is selfish. But if you will look to the adversity, like different catastrophe.
Disaster, the disaster. Shade.
Okay.
Hindi ko mag-Bisaya, di ako i-try ang best na ko mag-Bisaya actually. For like, ikaw lubos sa tingga.
Okay, so it is not necessarily mean that you choose equity, you're selfish. But if you will try to consider the adversity, like the disaster, no? It has a lack of resources. So why you should prioritize yourself than sharing it with others? Like in this scenario, I should be more practical. Like, the wise or the marginal thinking as well.
Marginal.
Okay, that's all.
Jean, do you have anything? Do you stand firm with your decision of
Equality. Real equality.
I respect that one.
I respect also
I do
Jomar.
believe in it.
No, I guess there are two different stories of the same point. Right? Sa time sa pandemic, sa time sa pandemic, maka-reflect yung bito ka sometimes nga naiuban na kanang well put jud, na dili jud yung heavily na affect so that and tungod sa phrase lagi na equality, maho nga everyone is given the opportunity to move back on their feet, especially with the ayudas from the government. Pero maka-reflect dyan po ka sometimes nga naka-juban nga
more in need?
more in need. Those who
Isod
are
man
in
ta,
the
pero napad yung mas nag-isod.
yes, isod ta pero naapay mas nag-isod kasi sa
Walang-wala, Jud. Walang.
yeah, mo na nga atay siguro situational jud nga na jud times nga pili jud ka og equality or mas pili jud ka okay sa akong experience katong na-hit me sa Odette nabaha ni actually and almost tanang balay was kanang partially damaged and majority of the families walay salina, walay gamit kay gibaha tanan. Walay tubig hati. And the resources were very much kanang nihit. So we had to manage on our own and to work as a community kay nahog ato nga walay signal, walay communication. So nayuban jud nga ning sacrifice nga move out sa among barangay in search for kana data resources like kanang communication and nahog nga after ato daghang nag-send bitog like part ganun mga families and luckily ning tabang jud ko dang uban nang hatag og donate and murag nalipay po ko ato nga part murag mag-interfax as a community nga dili jud may mahog na
Angat.
yes atin
Angat lahat.
atin to
Angat buhay. Angat.
atin to ano mo ba address the pag-uul and the after effects of that o nga bisan pag ngayon ka nga you have to think for yourself for your family nga naadyoy mga tao who believe that everyone deserves the opportunity the same that they have deserved kay siguro kay maka-reflect po sa past nga nahitabo sa imong life murag di ka ganahan niya sa una di ka ganahan niya experience ni mo before nga kalisod na experience po sa uban yung nga nga
They need
situation
help. You need to provide help.
ay
It's all about reciprocation.
reciprocating the help given to the community by your family.
So, for Jomar, equity doesn't necessarily mean it's selfish. And equality is true. We all agree that, and we respect the idea of equality also. So, for this situation, it is in particularism.
So I guess
But however, since we're talking about particularism in itself, since we've talked about universalism or equality, in particularism, do you think, other than the situation of the Odette or in insufficient resources, how about particularism as a whole?
In
Do you think,
general,
yes, in general, do you think it's selfish? Or since you're prioritizing, or maybe your mindset or behavior changes whenever someone in need is your loved one or a stranger, your behaviors or your decisions are different. It's subjective. So, do you think it's inherently selfish to be particular about certain situations?
you have to choose your family in a situation. Do you
Or
think
maybe loved one?
loved ones, those who are dear to you, do you think that technically labels you as someone who is selfish?
We have different situations, diba? So we should try to consider whether ourselves must be take place first than the others. So I do believe that making ourselves prioritize is not as selfish, but it is just a way you're playing safe. Thank you.
How about you, Jane? Since you're talking about equality.
Yeah, you talk about equality, and I think
Yes.
you fit the universalist.
The universalist perspective.
Kaya I think you tend to take care of not just your family but everyone,
Everyone.
others. Yeah, others.
Which is very respectable, I think.
Go Dean.
Go Dean.
Parang mo
Of
selfish.
course, as a dean, she has to be
Pero di man jud ko makaingon nga selfish food ag particularism kay di ba pud nato mabasa lang ko sa katawo kung mas pili uri dyan yung family kay at the end of the day pa dyan kay ang ato dyan mataganan kay atong family ug atong loved ones kanang mga ubang tao kay medyo atong makuha na nato mahilak ka di ba dyan ka dyan so
sa ibang nga, you should value your relationships.
sa patong family food
I think Miss Laika has something to say.
Yes, yes.
Oh, sige, it's okay.
Kira, I think kanang,
I think Joanne wants to answer.
Joanne and
Joanne,
Laika.
let's go back.
Okay, in fact, particularism can be seen as way to promote empathy and understanding towards others by recognizing their unique situations and experiences. By acknowledging the complexity of different situations, particularism encourage us to avoid oversimplifying ethical dilemmas and instead of develop nuanced solution that take into account various factors.
Yeah, and I think I do understand Miss Joanne's point.
You have to be considerate of others. I have to be considerate of yourself, not just others.
Yes.
Like again, highlight the perspectives. Highlight our situation from family to family, from friends to friends, from community to community. So highlight lagi pa nga to ba. So murag mo jud pud nga it varies from your belief jud ug yun sa kapag.
How about you, Laika?
Let's go back to life.
Go back. I will go to equality because kanang example is kanang disaster. We are all kanang affected by the disaster and kanang it's not just our home or our ang na-affect sa kuan disaster. We are all affected man, so we should kanang be equal to everyone. Pero I think kanang equity but also is not selfish. It's not a selfish choice because as what Jomar said, it depends on our situation and it's not bad. Now we choose our loved ones, man. It's not that bad to choose our loved ones.
So I guess everything has been discussed clearly between universalist and particularist, considering that the two statements.
Oh my God. Final question.
Final question.
Final. As Filipinos,
As Filipinos,
yes, our culture. Since we're talking about our culture and society, and of course, these topics, universalism and particularism, is part of the fundamentals of culture.
yeah.
So, do you think as Filipinos, are we particularists or universalists? In beliefs or in
Ikaw, personally, ma-identify
Personally,
ka.
as a Filipino.
Ma-identify ka universalist o particularist, dili. Asa ka?
Universalist. Our culture is universalist since we may be actually instinctively cooperative as a Filipino rather than selfish. Where nature or norms of Filipinos are being cooperative. Everyone cooperates though dili ma-reciprocate or ma-bausan ang imong buhat, but mas you choose cooperation or cooperative thinking than selfishness.
That's
Yeah,
one way.
I've seen that point.
That's one way to look at it. How about others? Come on.
Johan, or Miss Laika.
Miss Joanne.
For me, Philippine culture is generally considered to be particularist in nature. This means that Filipinos tend to prioritize relationships and social connection over rules and regulations. And decisions are often made based on personal connections rather than objective criteria. However, it is important to note that this is generalization and there may be variations within the culture. Additionally, as with any culture, there may be individuals who do not adhere strictly to the cultural norms.
There are individuals who don't adhere to the norms, like maybe teens or other people who have strong. So there are others who do not follow cultural norms or traditions. So others in Filipino settings, others tend to lean or focus more on their families. Since as Filipinos, yes, as Filipinos, we also prioritize our relationships from one another.
Ipada ko ba siya
Especially,
family-oriented with the influence of our...
Close family ties.
Social time.
So,
with the influence of Christianity at first, kana Jud. Kay Josephine.
Close family ties with
Close family ties, with the influence of Christianity,
Asian culture na dyan.
Asian culture. Kay, murag, key feature ba dyan sa mga Filipinos ang pag-hope when it comes to addressing elderlies in general. And then murag, kita na po siguro nga country ang specific na like tawag sa elder na magawang ba ate, kuya,
Chinese.
Sa Asia lang.
Asia.
Pero sa other countries kayo, wala ba yun?
Yes.
Wala din mo address niya ate.
Yeah, daddy.
Isa din ang mama ilarito kay
Sometimes
Name ra, wala dyan yung
especially in
honorific.
Western
Wala sila yung honorific.
Americans, that's true. So there's a spectrum. There are others who tend to lean more in universalism, but not everyone is purely universalist. And some others are particularists, but
Not entirely a particular.
so there's a spectrum, and we're all in it somewhere.
Yeah.
Very
People vary from one another, and I guess it shows that each one of us is actually distinctive.
yeah,
We
everyone is unique.
unique. Yeah, we are unique individuals that may vary from person to person. And I think there are no blueprints whether or not a person should be inherently particularist or inherently universalist. I think it reflects you as a person, your choices, your beliefs.
Your beliefs and your morals. So we are all built different. So it's been nice.
Yes,
It's been
it has
nice
been
talking
fun.
about you. Talking about you.
Talking with you.
Talking with you about
Yeah.
this certain topic, and we really seen yourself as you as
Really seeing yourselves as who you are.
yeah, for
Your
who you
answers
are,
have been
a reflection of who or
totoo.
what person are you inside. Yeah, pagpapakatotoo.
pagpapakatotoo.
Sir, hindi to scripted.
Without sir.
Transparency.
Transparency ni
Pero
sir.
nawin lang ako breathe.
Anyway, so this has been Ralph,
And Alexa.
and this concludes our podcast, Words and Worlds. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.